Alysa Liu thinks the criticism of Eileen Gu is hypocritical. The 2026 Olympic gold medalist is back on the ice, but she isn't sticking to a script. In a recent interview with the New York Times, figure skater Alysa Liu addressed the intense political noise surrounding her and fellow Bay Area athlete Eileen Gu. While the public often tries to frame these athletes as either heroes or liabilities based on which flag they represent, Liu sees the situation differently. She views the backlash against Gu, who chose to compete for China, as a contradiction of how immigrants are often treated in the U.S. The hypocrisy of the Eileen Gu discourse. For years, the conversation around Eileen Gu has been polarized. Some see her as a global superstar, others see her as a political pawn. Liu, who has known Gu since they were 13, thinks the critics are missing the point. "I think people are hypocritical for shaming her for representing China," Liu told the New York Times. "So in my head it's a bit hypocritical, because her mom is an immigrant. You would have told her to go back to China. Now that they are back in China, you're mad." Liu laughed off the idea that national borders should define an athlete's worth. And it's sport. It doesn't matter what country we represent. Sport is sport, and she has a love for competition. She has love for the game. I think that's all that matters. There's no shame in going to where opportunity is. Liu isn't just vocal about politics. She's also critical of the sport that made her famous. After a brief retirement at age 16, she returned to win gold in Milan Cortina, but she still thinks the current skating world is broken. She argues the competition system is too long for most people to watch, and the scoring is too confusing for even the athletes to follow. According to Liu, the entire system needs to be scrapped and rebuilt from scratch to stay relevant. The competition system and the setup just isn't fit for consumption, honestly, because the competitions are too long. No one can sit through and watch all that, Liu said. And people don't understand the scoring. Sometimes I don't either. The struggle with toxic training culture. Her return to the sport came with a new perspective on the mental and physical toll of elite skating. Liu spoke openly about her past struggles with body image and the lack of a personal life during her early career. She spent years working with a sports psychologist to undo the damage from a crazy training culture that offered no days off. "I would not want any kid to not have a day off," she noted, adding that coaches need significantly better training to protect young athletes. For Liu, the glide of the ice brought her back, but she's no longer willing to let the sport consume her entire identity. She finds her creative outlet in photography and hip-hop dance classes in Oakland, viewing skating more as an athletic challenge than an artistic one. "Figure skating does not artistically satisfy me," she admitted. While she loves the fight and the intense emotions of competition, she's clear that the sport is a vehicle for her willpower, not her whole world. In the world of elite sports, athletes are often celebrated not only for their talent but also scrutinized for their identities, choices, and affiliations. Few young athletes embody this complex intersection more clearly than figure skater Alysa Liu and freestyle skier Eileen Gu. Both athletes have achieved extraordinary success at a young age, and both carry multicultural identities that connect the United States and China. When Alysa Liu described the criticism directed at Eileen Gu as hypocritical, she highlighted a deeper issue within international sports culture: the uneven standards applied to athletes who navigate multiple identities. Alysa Liu's statement was more than a defense of a fellow athlete. It was a reflection of the broader contradictions in how the public treats sports figures who exist between cultures. To understand why Liu called the criticism hypocritical, it is important to examine the careers of both athletes, the controversy surrounding Eileen Gu, and the broader social context in which these criticisms arise. Rising stars of a new generation. Alysa Liu and Eileen Gu belong to a generation of athletes who grew up in a globalized world. Their experiences, identities, and opportunities differ from those of athletes from previous decades. Born in the United States to families with Chinese heritage, both athletes rose quickly through their respective sports, demonstrating remarkable talent at a very young age. Alysa Liu became one of the most exciting young figure skaters in the United States when she won the U.S. National Championship at just 13 years old. Known for her technical ability and fearless approach to jumps, Liu quickly captured attention as a future star of American figure skating. Eileen Gu's rise was similarly spectacular. As a freestyle skier, she dominated the halfpipe and slopestyle disciplines, gaining international recognition while still in her teens. What made Gu particularly notable was her decision to compete for China rather than the United States, a choice that sparked widespread debate. While athletes changing national representation is not unusual in sports, Liu's decision drew intense scrutiny, especially from commentators in the United States. Critics questioned her loyalty, motives, and even her identity. Supporters, however, praised her for embracing her Chinese heritage and using sports as a bridge between cultures. It was within this environment that Alysa Liu's comments about hypocrisy gained attention. The controversy around Eileen Liu. When Eileen Liu announced she would represent China in international competitions, reactions were swift and divided. Some people celebrated her decision as an expression of her multicultural background. Others accused her of abandoning the country where she was born and raised. Much of the criticism focused on issues beyond sports performance. Instead of analyzing her skiing achievements, many critics framed the discussion around nationalism and political tensions between the United States and China. This criticism intensified during the Winter Olympics, where Liu won multiple medals representing China. While many Chinese fans celebrated her success, certain Western commentators continued questioning her choices, often portraying them as controversial or opportunistic. Alysa Liu, observing this reaction, argued that the criticism directed at Liu was unfair and inconsistent. Her use of the word hypocritical suggested that similar decisions by other athletes had not received the same level of condemnation. Why Alysa Liu called the criticism hypocritical? At the heart of Liu's argument lies the concept of double standards. In international sports, athletes frequently change the country they represent for various reasons: family heritage, career opportunities, or personal identity. These changes rarely generate the same level of controversy unless broader political narratives become involved. For example, many athletes have represented countries different from their birthplaces without becoming subjects of national debates. In figure skating, gymnastics, and other Olympic sports, nationality changes are relatively common. Yet when Eileen Liu chose to represent China, the conversation often shifted from sports to geopolitics. Liu's criticism suggests